Hey, what is going on guys, it's Tharshey and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be having a look at the best build for Dwalin in Lord of the Rings Rise to War. This is a updated guide for 2023, so hope you guys do enjoy it. If you do, please do drop a like, comment and subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn those post notifications. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So, quick disclaimer, I'm obviously assuming that everyone who is watching this build guide has the correct amount of skill points, and by that I simply mean your Dwalin is level 50 in whatever campaign you're playing. He is respect level 5. He has the 4 extra points from imparted wisdom. So that should give you the same amount of points as I do. So if we're going to look at Dwalin now, so my Dwalin is actually respect level 7, I believe. If I can find him, there we go. He's actually respect level 7, so I'm not including 2 of my skill points in this build, so that the build I'm showing you guys is a respect 5 build instead. So before we get into the actual skills though, we're first going to have a look at his army composition as well as his gear. So first things first, in terms of army, what do you want to run on Dwalin? Well, there's a few choices, okay? There's obviously the cav option if you want. So if you really want to run cav because, you know, they're a lot quicker, so you won't be slowed down by using something like Guards of the Tower or Guardians, then you can run Cataphracts. Cataphracts are pretty great, especially if you're running them in Tactics Evolved, where they have the skill to, where you can heal and they do damage, because Dwalin does have a skill where you can do that. Or you can run Ram Riders with their defense stacking skill. That is something only available in Tactics Evolved, but if you do have Tactics Evolved, you have, a few more options than if you're not playing and you're playing a different campaign like Rebuilding Glory, War of the Ring, etc. But in general, you probably want to run him with Guardians. The reason for this is Guardians are not the highest damage output, yes, but they are incredibly, they're incredibly tough. They have a really high defense, and they're probably one of the tankiest melee units in the game. If you want something with a bit more damage and, slightly less defense, but, something that's still going to be a pretty good, unit to stack with, then you can run Guards of the Tower as well. So I would recommend probably Guardians first, then Guards of the Tower, or if you want, you could even run something like Dunedain or Cataphracts. That is up to you. But my recommendation is just go with Guardians. That's what I do. And Guardians are really great. They have high defense and everything, and they have the fire resistance skill as well. So if you are running him with them, and you do run up against a Witch King or something that deals a lot of fire damage, you are going to be, coming out slightly better than if you didn't have Guardians. Now, in terms of gear, what do you want to run for gear? Well, you want to run full on might gear. So what I would suggest for him would probably be this Warhammer, because this will give the commander a whole lot of extra might, and it will give some defense to dwarf units. So if you are running Guardians, it will increase the Guardians defense. And in terms of a skill, I will probably say you should, see max refined stats. Okay, so you can go for something like Concussion or Shatter, right? Which is after normal attack, it removes it reduces their defense or their damage. Or you can go for Dwarf Strength. If you are running, Guardians, your Guardians will be doing 9% more damage. But something like Concussion or Shatter is probably more helpful for you, as that's gonna, affect the enemies. So yeah, Warhammer probably the best thing. But you can also run a Battle Axe. The reason for this is Battle Axe is just pure might. So if you look at a Warhammer, right, the base might is 12. And the base might of the Battle Axe is 16. So with the Battle Axe, I think you get like plus 45 might at the end. So if you do have this really strengthened, it does give you more might than if you're running a Warhammer. But a Warhammer is probably a little bit better if you are using dwarven units like Guardians, or even if you're not running a monostack, but you're actually running something like Guardians and Axe Throwers, then this may be a bit better for you. However, if you just want the pure might, then go for the Battle Axe. And Battle Axe has some pretty great skills as well. So I would probably say the best thing you can get is Flay, because for the first 4 rounds, your commander's physical damage, which is what Dwalin does, will ignore 30% of your target's defense. So this is probably the best thing you can have. You could also go melee might, allied melee units, damage dealt plus 9%, but Flay is just the best option on a Battle Axe. In terms of your chest piece, well, something like this is probably best. Superior Halberd, which gives you might, gives you defense, and it gives you burn damage received if you have fire protection, which is definitely the skill you want on this. So you can run something like this, especially if you're up against evil factions where you'll be going up against a lot of burn damage. If you're not, then you can run a Quilted Armor, which has might, focus, and speed. and a lot of might. It's the same as the superior halberd, but instead of your defense, you have focus and speed, which is good because if you're running Guardians have such high defense already, you don't actually really need any more defense, right? And then this does have focus protection, which against good factions is pretty helpful considering you go up against a lot of Galadriel and other commanders like that. If you don't want to run either of these or you don't have either of these, you can run something like a scale mail as well. It's not as good, but you can run it, and you do have melee vigor, which is a nice skill, which is allied melee units damage received minus 1% for each star of refinement. So you can also run something like that if you want. In terms of your helmet, well, helmet, you want something that's pure might. So something like a Cask of Pride will be great. Gives you might, gives you defense to melee, and fortitude of soldiers, allied melee units damage received. So obviously, as you can see, if you have a lot of armor and each piece of armor gives your melee units less damage received, and it's like, let's say 6% for each one, that's 6, 12, 18, 24. That ends up, working out to be quite a lot, minus 24% damage. So yeah, you can run something like a Cask of Pride, or you can run a full helm, which is just pure might. As you can see, the Cask of Pride is might, but it also gives defense to melee, which, as I said, if you're running Guards of the Tower is great, but if you're not and you're running Guardians don't need that melee defense really. So then something like a full helm would be better, which is just full on might with a skill like melee vigor, which once again reduces the amount of damage your melee units receive. If we go over to accessory, probably the best accessory is this. This is amazing. Entrod Calabash. Gives you 30 might when fully strengthened, and it gives your army plus 6 HP. So this makes your entire army just that much, that much more tankier. So this is a really great accessory to have. However, I know obviously this is the legendary accessory and some people may not have it. And if you don't have this, then you can go for something like a hit lane instead. It gives you a bunch of might. Okay, it's not 30 might, it gives you 12 might only, but it gives you some might, it gives you some focus, and it still gives you some army HP. So that plus 3 army HP is definitely going to help. And then you can go for something like Mend, which will every 2 rounds your 1 unit. So if you're mono stacking, this obviously is pretty helpful. Your 1 allied unit will recover 60, 80, 100, 120% HP depending on your refinement on that. So that is what I would recommend in terms of gear. Now, if we go over to skill, we can see I've already assigned the skills, and I do have 2 remaining skill points, and that is because I have respect level 7 instead of respect level 5. So for those of you guys that only have, only have them at respect 5, that is why I'm leaving out those 2 skill points. Obviously, I am expecting you guys to have that commander level and equipment proficiency level. So first thing, and this is the order in which you want to skill this, right? So make sure you follow my order in skilling this, and you don't go and just put points anywhere, as you feel. So first you want to max out Experienced Warrior, 15 out of 15. Then you want to put 7 points into Hunt Down, and then you want to put 7 points into Collaboration. Next, you want to max out Durin's Blood, 15 out of 15. Then you want to max out Whirlwind, 7 out of 7. And last, you want to put your points into All In. Do not put your points into All In before you put your points into something else, right? Because All In, when it triggers, it reduces next damage out by 50%, and you want that to just affect your normal attack rather than, affecting one of your skills. So just make sure you put points into All In last. So now that you've got all your points in, you will have 3 points left over, or if you have a higher respect level, you will have a few extra points. And now, what you do here is up to you, okay? You can put the points into Warrior for the Lonely Mountain. Each level will reduce the physical damage your entire army receives by 1%. So right now, I put my 3 extra points into it. So army physical damage received minus 3%, which is going to help out a bit, Combined with the equipment, this is maybe minus 12% physical damage received in total or something. So you can put your points into there, or you can even put like 2 points into there and 1 point into Giant Slayer, which is commander damage against large units, plus 7.1%, which will be a little bit of help if you are fighting a lot of trolls and stuff. Or you could put it into Longbeard, which is commander physical damage, ignores 7.1% up target's defense. So you can put 2 points into there and then 1 point into here. And then as you have him at high respects, maybe 3 there, 2 there, 5 there, 2 there, etc., right? But if you only have him, at respect level 5 and you don't have any extra skill points and you don't want to put 3 points into there, what you can do is you can also put 2 points into Musician, and you can put 1 point into Relief, which will just give you a tiny bit of HP recovery. It's not a lot, but hey, it's better than nothing. Or you can put it into Level-Headed, which is if your units are, suffering from a debuff, this will give you a slight chance of removing that debuff. So yeah, that is going to be the skill build for you guys, and we're going to just do a quick review and overview of everything that I spoke about. So first things first, in terms of troop, the troop that I recommend is Guardians, okay? If you do not want Guardians, the second best troop is probably Guards of the Tower, and if you want something with a bit more speed, then you can run Cataphracts. In terms of your gear, I would recommend something like a Warhammer, or if you do not want to use a Warhammer, you can go for something like a Battle Axe, unless you have his uniques. If you have his uniques, obviously that is fine. In terms of his chest piece, I would recommend something like a Superior Halberd with fire protection against evil, or a quilted armor with focus protection against good. If you have neither of that, you can also go with a scale mail with a skill like melee figure, which is very helpful. In terms of your headpiece, you probably want to go with something like Case Cut Pride, which gives you might and army defense melee. This is more helpful if you are running Guards at the Tower. If you are running Guardian, something like a full helm, which is pure might, would be better with a skill like melee vigor, which once again reduces physical damage received. In terms of your accessory, something like an Enshroud Calabash is literally perfect, but this is a legendary accessory. If you do not have it, go for something like a Hitlane, which I assume everybody does have. In terms of your skill build, you're going to put 15 points into Experienced Warrior, followed by 7 points into Hunt Down, followed by 7 points into Collaboration, followed by 15 points into Durance Blood, 7 into Whirlwind, and 7 into All In. Your remaining 3 skill points you have can either go into Warrior of the Lonely Mountain, or you can put 2 into Warrior of the Lonely Mountain and 1 into Longbeard, so you ignore some of your target's defense, or you can go 2 points into Musician and 1 point into Relief for a tiny bit of HP recovery, or into 1 point into Level Headed to have a slight chance of removing a debuff. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on those post notifications. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video.